so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hi everyone, welcome back. So for today's video, we're going to talk about everything economy, from the inflation to economy to food supply to the stock market, the housing market. What else? I think I do have the virtual currency. I know someone asked for that in the past. Banks and loans. We have here that's the supply. We have employment, wage, stimulus checks, and yeah, basically everything. So anything economy, everything will be covered in this video. The main goal here is that each question gets at least 4 minutes, so we don't go over time into an hour. The goal here is about 36 minutes, maybe 40 max. So we're going to take a look at today's video. Again, everything will be timestamped in the description below if you're just looking for a particular part in today's read-in. Anyway, let's jump in. Let's do some quick disclaimers so we get that out of the way. This video is being recorded on July 15, 2022 at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as you see here on Google, this is the current news cycle of today. So this is the current news. And so here are some quick disclaimers on your screen right now. If you feel free to read them either now or on your own time, feel free to pause if you need. Other than that, we're just going to skip ahead. This video is just for entertainment purposes only, and for education purposes only as well. Sorry, I'm talking a little bit fast and I have a runny nose. So I will do my best. All right, guys. Let's jump into it. All right, so the first thing that we have here is the United States economy. Again, guys, everything will be timestamped in the description below if you want to go to that certain specific question. All right, so Spirit Angels tell me about the United States economy. What is the state of the United States economy for the next 5 years? Give me 3 cards. Okay. All right, and then the future. All right, give me one more card. Okay. Interesting. So the U.S. economy has gone through some sort of turmoil. In the past year, we had a strike. A big historical event occurred, and it changed the trajectory of the United States economy, basically making it crash. So now it's not necessarily going to crash the way that you will see during the Great Depression. But what I do see here, that the thing is already set. It was bound to happen because of the historical event at play. But what I do see here, though, is what this is signifying. It is telling me that the economy was always going to be doomed because of the historical event. But what it's also saying as well as simultaneously that because this thing has been elongated, the effects of this tower card, this tower energy, what it is doing is setting up the stage for something even bigger to happen because it's being prolonged. So, for example, inflating the economy, so to speak, right? That is prolonging the effects of a recession or a depression. And because of that, that is going to have more of a major effects going in the future because you put in a Band-Aid on a cut that is still bleeding. It's not going to take care of anything. It's going to suck up some blood, but it's still going to bleed. That is the same method behind this. Now, currently, right now, we have in the present, we have the 3 of Swords. A lot of people are feeling pain. And I don't mean that in physical pain. It actually could be physical pain because it is the heart. And people are feeling like their government, their country, it does not care for them. It's not taking care of them. And I feel like they feel like they're being stabbed in almost every corner, from their wages, from their income, to the inflation, to healthcare, to even as well as society as a whole and the social justice going forward. I do feel like as of right now, what America is going through is the 3 of Swords. And that this really similarly was down that this is the dark period of the Tower card. This is the long-term effect of the Tower card's energy. And what we are currently experiencing now is we're experiencing a major change. When there is a heartbreak, there is a renewal. The question is, will that person, this entity, this thing, stay in that heartbreak energy, or will they come out of it stronger than before? We do have here as well. We do have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of Swords reversed. And this is the mental capacity here. This is the mental aspect of a person's mind. But it's reversed. And what this is telling me here that mentally speaking, people are going to get out of this idea of the economy is collapsing. In some way or some form that in the future, though, people are just going to learn how to live with that. It's kind of what it feels like. It feels like we're not going to get out of it because people learn how to survive. Like, people are no longer in that survival instinct, like in this card. What they are hearing, what it feels like to me, that people are resorting to methods that are going to allow them to have the ability to be more secure. So, for example, some people might have a full-blown edible garden instead of a backyard. That's going to provide them with the ability to feel secure. And that is what I'm seeing for the United States economy, is that we are moving towards a direction where civilians overall will start to create a life for themselves, a meaningful one. So do expect that for the United States economy, that people can become less reliant on the economy and more reliant on themselves. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to look at is the United States stock market. Let's take a look. Okay, actually, let me use the Monopoly card. I feel like there's no better way to actually tell about the stock market than National Monopoly. So we're going to use that. Okay. Spears Hands was telling me, please give me 3 cards that represent the United States stock market in the next 5 years. How is the United States stock market doing? Okay. Okay. Okay, this is how the stock market is doing right now. Let me move this out of the way so you guys can see it. So for the first card here is in the past, we have here overflowing emotion place, right? People felt like because of the pandemic, people were being kicked out by their own renters, the landowners, and driving up the prices, right? The emotions were all over. People felt like they couldn't have a place to live or a place of security, so to speak, right? A lot of the exemptions on removing people during COVID was not allowed, but until right after people were forced out of their home, that is the emotion. People are feeling scared, right? And in the middle card here, we have the Tower card, but it's reversed. And the way the stock market is going, no, this is the housing market, right? This is the house. But it's signifying as an arrow that is cracking. What it is telling me here is that the Tower card is showing that the stock market is going to go down sometime soon, but it's going to go down and it's going to crash. But then it's going to crack and it's going to slightly tick back up, which is why we have this crack here. It's going to crash, but then it's going to make its way back up. So it's not going to stay down like it did during the Great Depression. It's going to crash and then make its way slowly back up. This also is hinting as well in terms of the stock market that this is also very well dependent on the housing market as well. So whatever the housing market and what that housing market is going through is what's going to really dictate the stock market. And the stock market will also dictate the housing market in terms of prices and stuff like that. So in terms of the future here of the stock market, we have the devil reverse. We have some sort of insider trading going on, some illegal trading. There's some sort of inside information coming from the United States House, but I'm also seeing specifically the White House. So there is something going on here in the White House that has to do with some sort of illegal trading in the stock market. There's some sort of illegal activities going on here. Particularly, I don't know what they are, but I do see that here, that there is some sort of foul play being made in the stock market. Yeah, so we have the 4 Pentacles holding on tight avenue. It feels like they're trying to manipulate the stock market to appear as it's not crashing, to make it appear as if it's not crashing. It's almost like propaganda. They're telling you the economy is not crashing while simultaneously they know it's crashing. So it might not be illegal, but it's lying to the people. And in that case, people feel that as illegal. So that is the stock market. Let's take a look at the inflation. Okay, Spirit Angels, tell me about the United States inflation over the next 5 years. Well, hold on, we have another card here. Where is it? Okay, let me put that back in. I'll do this again. Spirit Angels, tell me about the United States inflation over the next 5 years. Okay. 2 more cards? Or 1 more? Okay. Okay, I feel race here. There's something with race. Maybe some sort of racial lines here, but we'll talk about that in a second. All right, so for the here and the past here, we have the 2 of Swords reversed. And what this is telling me mentally that people knew that the country was going to inflate in some way. The country has been increasing the prices for a long duration of time, so this was to be expected, and it does not come as a surprise. But what does come as a surprise to a lot of people was the fighting, the violence, the inability to feel safe within your own home, that one day you might be walking to a store innocently, just doing whatever you got to do to only find out you may never make it home again. And that is what is a major surprise here in terms of inflation. I don't know why that comes up, but it does come up as part of the inflation, that people are feeling scared to even get out and get basic necessities because of where they live. We have here in the center here in terms of the inflation as a whole though, is that people are going to start rejecting as a whole, as a collective, they're going to start rejecting things, materialistic needs, or things that they do not need to survive. So for example, a pocketbook. A woman may not buy a pocketbook if it goes from $200 to $400 because she could save $200 and buy more groceries or something else with that. And that's what I do feel like, that there is a limit. And a lot of companies, a lot of corporations are pushing that limit to see how far customers are willing to take their money before enough is enough. And that is what I'm seeing here, that there's going to be some sort of rebellion against the inflation. So definitely strongly feel that there's going to be some sort of pushback either towards corporations, towards workers, employees who have no control over that, or I'm also sensing as well as towards the government. The question is, what one will they push back against? And we also have here as well is that there's also a limit of supply on purpose. And the reason why there is a limit of supply here is to force the prices to go up even higher so that they have an excuse for the inflation that they haven't incurred on the people. So what I do feel like there is an abundance of stuff here, but they're not selling it in stores to force you into thinking that the country and inflated, and that the reason for the high prices is because of the lack of goods, when in reality that is not really the case. We do have here, though, in the future, though, is that there's going to be a distinct difference between the customer and the employee or the person charging or giving away the goods. That is what I'm seeing here. I am seeing that people are going to start becoming, like I said, self-reliant in the economy. It feels like people are going to start relying on themselves to make certain things that they need, materialistic things. The same way, very similar to the way they did it in the Great Depression, where women would take burlap sacks from potatoes and they would make dresses or would make Barbie dolls out of it. That's what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing people using the materials that they have available to them to be able to satisfy that materialistic need while also simultaneously diversion from the corporation and the customer base. And I do feel like over time, this is going to be a failed practice by a lot of businesses. So that is what the inflation is. Let's talk about the United States employment wage and stimulus checks. Let's take a look at that. Spirit Angels, tell me about the United States employment rate, income, and of course stimulus checks. Please give me 3 cards. Okay. Oh, 1 more card. Okay, I'll take it because we need it. Okay, let me see. Make sure you guys can see this. Okay. Interesting. Let's see what card represents this. Okay. We have a death here. Now, the thing that I feel very strongly about is that the country, I think the government in general, not Biden, not Trump, I feel like the country in general is lying to the people. We're telling people that this is the amount of people that died, but yet somehow, in some way, we have to hire about more jobs than we did previously to 2020. And what it is telling me here is that more people died who had those jobs, and that's why they're openly available. And so what they're doing is they're telling people, oh no, nobody really died, but in reality, there's a higher number of COVID deaths than what they're really telling you. And I do feel like in some way the government is indeed lying. We have the death card, unemployment. And what I'm seeing that death is making a major toll here, and it's going to be very problematic. They do no longer have those valuable workers because they're gone. They're gone, really. What I am sensing here that is a problem for the corporation or these entities or these beings or even the country as a whole is because they made them die. They made the reason why COVID attacked them so good is because they made it impossible for them to survive it. For example, not providing health care, health insurance. They made it impossible for them to keep their employees long term. That is what I'm seeing for death. Now, in terms of the Empress card here, we have that reversed. This is talking about money here, wages, stimulus. We have here, this is now referring to women. Right? Women is reversed. And I am feeling in some way or some form that this has to do with the fetus, the pregnancy of the woman's body. And what I am sensing here that women are now the modern version of the breadwinners for a lot of men in the family. But because of the discrimination that women face on almost every level in the United States, I am seeing that their power as women is starting to dwindle in terms of the wage scale, in terms of the income. And because of that, simultaneously, at the same exact time, men are also losing their income simultaneously at the same exact time. So I do feel like there is going to be a hard coming soon where both men and women won't be at their best. Like almost like they'll both be at their worst in terms of income level. And what I feel like because of that, that is going to put them both at the same level, the same starting point again. So we have the number one, the 1%, we have the middle class, and then we have the poor. What I am seeing here that even though different genders have different level of economic status, what I am seeing here though for the Empress card and the King of Pentacles reverse is that it is telling me that that level of security is starting to crumble, and that both women and men will be at a zero starting point, trying to rebuild up their income again, meaning that both of them will be in a more fair position than previously. However, both of them will suffer economically in a short term for long-term gain. The question is, will they keep continuing the same level together, or will they both collapse again? The question is, time can only tell. Now, as for the stimulus checks here, we have the Three of Wands reversed. We also have the Knight of Cups here. And the Three of Wands here, that yes, we have the 3 stimulus checks in the past. It has not worked. For somebody they're only able to provide economic security for maybe like a month, if even. However, I do feel like in the future, though, by the Biden administration, I do feel like sometime either right after the midterm election or before, it's going to be almost like a thank you gift, but also a bribe of some sort, to say thank you to the American people for voting, to encourage voting. So we have here the Knight of Cups here. I do feel like the Biden administration is going to provide a bigger stimulus check than the one they provided in the past. And that is what I'm feeling in the stimulus check. I do see a 4th one in the future. If not, if we already had a 4th one, it's going to be a 5th one. But whatever it is, I do see that in the future. Now, the next thing that we're going to take a look at is banks and loans. There's no better way to do that than the United States the Monopoly card deck. We're going to use that to kind of see what is happening there. Wow, it's only 19 minutes. I'm doing really good. Whew. Okay. Spirit Angels, tell me about the United States banks and loans for over the next 5 years. What is to be expected in the United States banks and loans? Okay, let me do it again. Yeah. Two more Spirit Angel. Two more cards, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, I kept hearing in my ear that these two need to be switched, so I'm just going to switch them. Okay, so what did we say? We have here Confusion Illusion Place. Okay. We have Damn That Sucks Place. And then we also have here It's a Party Place. Okay, so we're talking about the United States banked alone, right? We have confusion, illusion, and place, right? We have the 70 euros, right? We have damn, that sucked, place, right? The cups. Then we also have here is the party, place. It's also 3 cup reverse. So what I am sensing, this is not really good in terms for the United States banked and loan. What I do feel like some of them are going to end up defaulting. Some of them are going to go bankrupt. We do have here is confusion illusion plays. They're creating this illusion that they're helping the people that they care about their own customers or consumer base, people who are banking them. They don't really care. They honestly don't, but they're giving that illusion of, hey, if you give me your money, I'll give you this many points, and you can use this money for airplanes, goodbyes, whatever you want with this. What I'm sensing here, though, that they're going to do away with that. That system, that point system, is going to go. It's going to go away, right? There's nothing that we can do about it. We do have here, though, in the middle card here, we have damn, that sucked, place. It almost feels like arrogance. It's what I'm sensing from the bank and loan. They say, oh, your business is not doing as well. Damn, that sucks. Well, sorry, we can't help you. That's the energy I feel like. I feel like you don't give up. It's what it feels like. I feel like you do not care. And I apologize for my language if it actually did come out. I silenced myself, but in case it didn't. Yeah, that's what I feel like. They do not care about your situation, no matter what kind of circumstances that you were in. Right? And the last card here as well, and in the future, for the next 5 years, we have is the party plates. Banks and loans in particular are not going to do very well in the next 5 years. I feel like banks are going to turn people away. They're going to almost practically discriminate on economic levels. That's what we're going to see more of in the future. That's what I'm sensing. I don't really see much information. I just feel like they think they're above you. Right? That is what I'm sensing from banks and loans. So now the next thing that we're going to talk about is virtual currency. The last time I talked about this, I was spot on. I said it was going to crash and collapse. Apparently, that is exactly what is happening now. So let's take a look at virtual currency. So Spirits Angel, tell me about the virtual currency like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and all the other virtual currencies in the United States and worldwide over the next 5 years. And final card. Okay. Interesting. So what we have here in terms of the United States virtual currency is in the past we had a brand new idea. It had a possibility, a potential of becoming really good. A life-changing historical event is what it feels like. But what this had ended up turning out to be instead was a hanged man. Now, a lot of those people didn't understand how currency worked and value worked. So a lot of them were hanged upside down. They spent maybe, $1 on a virtual currency, and that coin is now worth over $1.5 million. To only find out that they cannot access that $1.5 million because they deleted the account or they did something with them. And that's what it kind of feels here. It feels like people don't understand the true value of virtual currency and how much it's going to change our future going forward. We have here in the terms of the future cards, we have the Empress card. Now, this isn't a really good card specifically for virtual currency, but it is also talking about the fact that it's no longer relying on virtual physical goods like dollar bills, coins, and stuff like that. There is no need to chop down trees anymore because it can be all done through virtual. And that's what I'm also seeing here as well, is that it's also a positive in terms of environmental change here. But what I'm also seeing here, that there's going to be a major shift, a climate shift, as one may put it, where virtual currency is going to undergo another big change, and that's what's going to perfect it even better. And over time, it's going to keep going through these changes and perfecting as time goes on. It's going to become a lot easier for a lot of people. And that is what I'm seeing in the Empress card here, and that's reversed. And now, as of what the Empress card is being emphasized here as well, in terms of the virtual currency, is the worldwide. It is not going to be an accepted form of currency worldwide. It is so going to struggle in terms of monetary gain, but there are going to be some countries that accept it or start adapting virtual currency as a new form of currency. And that's alone is going to skyrocket the price of virtual currency. What we do have here as well, and that also allows it not that be inflation. So a lot of countries may end up doing this as a way to fight inflation. What we do have here as well, though, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have the 8 of Pentacles reversed. Now, what I am seeing here is that it's going to take a very long time for virtual currencies to kind of get back up where it was before it crashed. And that is what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing is the long-term effect of virtual currency that even though it's a really good way of not inflating things, but it takes a very long time for it to come back up. Now, that is what I'm seeing in the cards. I don't know if that is entirely true, but that could be just how the energy is being projected. We do have here eventually, though, we do have the Ace of Pentacles. There's going to be some sort of compromise in terms of virtual currency that allows people to not only carry their money virtually, but also be able to pay with it physically. So there's going to be a compromise between both, is what I am seeing. Okay, that is virtual currency. The next thing that we're going to look at now is the United States supplies, electric, food, water, how that's going. We'll go more in depth with this in another video because I do see a lot of places are closing, some being environmentally shut down, and stuff like that. So I want to take a look at that in a more deeper in-time video at another time. In case if you do want to see this, let me know in the comment section below and I will pursue that video. All right. We are going to be using the food fortune tarot deck, but I felt like it was necessary as this is a survival instinct and it is necessary that we use it. Spirit Angel told me about the United States supply system, the supply chains from goods, services, water, electricity, food, stuff like that, lumber, stuff, all stuff like that, oil, gas. How is that doing in the United States over the next 5 years? Okay. So in the past, we had the thickest. We have a milkshake, right? The thickest of the thick, right? We have strawberry milkshake. And once it's kind of hinting to me that we had an overabundance of goods, an overabundance of supply, right? It was so thick that even if you stuck it up a straw, you even sometimes had a hard time swallowing. And that's what I'm seeing here. That is too thick that they kind of had to limit it. But they limited it so much that now things become kind of a little bit airy. But there's so much open space now that there is not enough supply. That means that they're still trying to find that balance, which is why we have salted, the sparkler. And what does it kind of hinted to me as well here is that at one point we had a lot of goods. Then we ended up in the space where we started getting rid of those goods. And now we're going to be entering to what's known as the Queen of Sides, which is a stallion, right? We had the little salt, pepper, chicken, and stuff like that. What I am seeing that there's going to be this balance between the right amount of goods, but also the right amount of space. You can kind of see it in a salad alone, right? You have lettuce, you chop up romaine lettuce, you put that in with tomatoes, right? There's a little bit of space in between, but there's enough space so that it tastes good, that all things can be mixed in with the dressing and everything like that. That is what's very important here. That there is finding that balance between both air and high supply of ingredients, right? We have here in the future, though, we also have the King of Sweets. I do feel like in the coming future, though, in terms of supply in general for economy, for electric, water, food, oil, gas, stuff like that, we're going to have an overabundance again. We're going to have the right amount, and people are going to enjoy those time periods because we're going to be able to enjoy food that maybe would be too expensive right now. We can be able to enjoy them for cheaper than what we did back in 2000. We do have here as well, though, with the King of Sweets. I do feel like in some way or some form that there's going to be kind of like a sweet victory that even though things are hard now, they are going to lighten up in terms of food supply. So that means the inflation prices are going to probably, okay, here, what we got based on the other readings so far, I don't see inflation dropping, but people understand the value that now there's an overabundance and stuff, but they're not selling in the store, telling you and making you pay the same price over. What I do feel like there is going to be some sort of protest potentially if people find out that there's an abundance of food again, like I've been saying, or abundance of supply, people are going to get pissed off. And that is what I'm seeing, is that people are going to need to enjoy this sweet spot. This is going to really highlight and help a lot of families be able to put food on their table. And this also goes to, again, adding sort of supply. We also have here as well, we have the Ace of Maine, right? What's the flavor soup? Well, I do feel like, though, like I said to you guys in the past, people are going to become self-reliant on themselves. They're going to start be able to produce their own food. They're going to start producing a lot of things on their own, and they're going to start bartering without the corporation influence or government with taxes. We do have here, what this is telling me here, that one of the great ways to kind of allow your family to go through that is to really stock up on canned goods. Really stock up. And try, whatever you don't eat, always keep the waste in the fridge and always use your leftovers. Don't throw out your food, because Spirit is saying here that what needs to happen is you need to be able to understand the difference of food waste and not food waste. That no matter what it is, someone is starving, you're fortunate enough to have the ability to have leftover food, and they're telling you to save that food. If you're not going to be able to eat it, give it to someone else who will. Feed somebody. Don't throw it out. And that is what this is saying here, that you guys need to be able to become more self-reliant in terms of like being able to take your garbage or the scratch goods and be able to make stuff with it. So, for example, you take garden scrap, like, eggshell, old rotten food and stuff, throw that in a container with dirt, and you make compost, which you can then use to add the garden. That's what they're telling you. They're telling you there's so many ways that you can now use all your material. They're telling you to get creative. Use it to whatever best suits you. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to take a look at is the last one, actually, is the housing market. So let's take a look at the housing market. Okay, Spirit Angels, tell me about the United States housing market over the next 5 years. What is the housing market going to be like over the next 5 years? Oh my God, I forgot to put it in. All right, that's fine. What I mean by put it in, I mean like have the Spirit gives me cards. Okay, Spirit Angels, tell me, please give me 3 cards that represent the next 5 years of the housing market in the United States. Okay, thank you. I love when they do this for me. Okay. Okay, we have some sort of relation here. Okay, so we have Struggle Avenue. We have the 5 of Pentacles, right? People leaving, people walking away, people not being able to have a place to live. This is in the past here. In the past sense that people are struggling, trying to get by. Right? This is the United States housing market. This is in the past. We're talking about 2008 and stuff like that. We do have here as well, we also talking about the Hierophant, the Catholic Church, the church in general. What I am seeing here that they're going to start taxing the church is what I do feel like. I do feel like one of the major ways to really bring in some sort of extra income ways to start charging religion, right? Not trying to prevent you from practicing it, but trying to prevent churches or religion from trying to, what's the best way to put it, infiltrate and indoctrinate a whole group of people by forcing them to live their way of life while simultaneously disregarding someone else's religion. We have here as well, followed with in the center here, we have the double card reverse, jail time. People are going to start to realize that, hey, listen, if I can't find a place to live in terms of shelter, food, healthcare, whatever, well, then what place will provide all those things? Well, prison. Prison will provide those necessary stuff. Now, not all of them will, but some of them will provide shelter, obviously, because you will be held there. They also will provide food. Two essential basic things that you need in order to survive. So some people may start looking at the prison system as more like an Airbnb rather than being locked away. And that's the difference, that there is a change of perspective here. Underneath this, we also have here, we have not interested place. It's reversed. Now, in the past, people felt like they weren't interested in the prison system, obviously, right? Because it was a place where you would be punished. It's reversed. And what that is telling me here, that people are starting to be like, hey, wait a minute. You can get free healthcare in the prison system, but I can't get healthcare when I'm out of the prison system. So why not commit a crime, have somebody come in and tell them that I stole $1 and put me in jail and I get my healthcare? That is the mindset that people are thinking. It's a very sad mindset, but it's also a survival mindset. People are in survival mode now. In terms of the future, though, in terms of the housing market in general, we have here Holding On Tight Avenue. We have the card come up before, right? We have Four Pentacles reversed, and it's followed by Joyous Home Gardens. You know how I told you people are going to start become self-reliant on people? Self-reliant. People are going to start looking for houses that allow them to be able to have the space to be able to become self-reliant, right? If you live in a city, chances are you're not going to be able to have this luxury. So what I am seeing that people are going to start shifting from the cities into rural areas, into suburbs. That is where I'm seeing a major shift happen. People are going to shift away from the cities to rural areas. An exact reverse of what happened in the 1950s during the baby boomers. Right? People are going to start going back to the rural areas again, and they're going to populate. And that's what I'm seeing. What I'm also seeing as well here is Holding On Tight Avenue. People feel like their home is not worth as much as what the stock market is telling them, because they're like, up this, I can just go and grab a nice home in a nice area in a cheaper place, and I can be able to have an affordable place to live and be able to create my own food. So it'll be a no-brainer to move there. That is what I'm seeing in terms of the mindset, in terms of the housing market, that people are just going to go where it makes the most common sense, so to speak. Now, the bottom of the card here is well in terms of the housing market. We have development of information and contracts. That's reversed. People are going to kind of disregard that. I feel like a lot of people are not going to really invest their time in buying a house that's already made. They're going to start building their own houses. Some of them are going to start buying them already pre-made. That would be like on wheels. So it would be like a tiny home, for example, where they don't have to really pay land or pay it until they no longer need to live there. That's what I'm seeing. That there's going to be a shift from having a big house that's already made too much money, about $1 million. You can get a nice house that's a lot cheaper. I feel like people are going to look for other means. In terms of the housing market, I don't really see necessarily a crash. I just see a shift in mindset and shift in needs and movement. I do see that, but I don't see a crash. We have here message of romance, invitation, future plans, guidance, and then we also have here something shady way. Okay, so we have the message of romance upright, which is the invitation, right? People are now flirting with the idea of moving away, getting somewhere else. Reverse here, we had future plan guidance. Okay, if that isn't a sign, I don't know what it is. I told you guys about this. People become self-reliant. And then this is also came reverse as well, which is something shady way. And that's reverse. And what I'm feeling, that people feel like the housing market is a little bit shady, that they can't trust it. They're going to look for other avenues that won't allow them to be as easily manipulated as the housing market. So that is what I am seeing for the housing market. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, a like, and a subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.